Going over my recent breakthrough breakdown on Blackwell Fields, I recognize that video is probably a little bit too long. So for this video, I'm going to do a more streamlined version, focusing on high traffic areas and how we can use that information to our advantage when sniping. Obviously, this matters because once we understand where players are more likely to be, then it becomes a lot easier for us to take useful angles instead of just sitting in random spots and hoping somebody walks into our scope. Again, with an upcoming video, I'll do some breakdowns of actual clips from Blackwell Fields and show what this looks like in real matches. So, starting off, we have to know what the high traffic areas are going to be. The number one most useful and fought after area is going to be this middle ground between the flag and the attacking spawn. Oftentimes, attackers are going to take one of three, maybe four paths. This is going to be number one, this is going to be the second main path, and this area is going to be the third main path. Now, even though these are the main paths, people oftentimes split off of these as well. For the defenders, the main area you're going to find them is this section. You're going to find some on the road here. Oftentimes you will find them behind the truck that's near the objective and on the objective itself, sometimes this area, sometimes this area. Less frequented spots are going to be this area here. The roof area will usually have a couple of people, not more than that. In terms of sniping, we have to understand that defending recon players will oftentimes end up in one of these spots here, sometimes this area here. It's important to note this, as if we're attacking, we have to understand where enemy snipers are more likely to be. We want to focus on the main areas that impact the objective the most. So for this, that's going to be this middle section. So where can I put myself to put as much pressure on this section and the objective as possible? Oftentimes there's going to be three locations here. One's the top of this hill, one is this rock over here, which I will include the middle rock as well. Another one is straight down the middle. There's an area coming out of the spawn that you can utilize the hill a little bit to see straight into this area. Again, the thing we have to remember is if I'm pushing this hill, it gives me a cone of sight. Oftentimes that cone of sight is going to be something like this. This means we can see everybody inside of this area. The thing to remember here is everybody inside of this area can also see us. So we want to be cognizant of the location that we're at, where we can see, and where areas that can see us are going to be located. This means that once the match has started and things have gotten going, if I start pushing this hill, oftentimes I'm going to check these areas here just to ensure there's not any sniper players, and because those are the first ones I'm probably going to see and that are going to see me. Secondary areas after this is going to be places like this rooftop, and knowing that there's a spawn in this area as well, and oftentimes people are going to push this direction. So if I clear these sections, then it allows me to focus on this main middle area and put a lot of pressure there, hopefully creating space for my team to move up. Onto the second sector now. This is going to be a little different than the first because oftentimes the defending team are not going to push up too far ahead of the objective. Basically, there's not a lot of cover in this area, so it kind of makes it no man's land for both teams. But when we're first pushing this point, there's going to be two highly important areas to be aware of, especially when we're sniping. One is going to be around this machine gun. The other is going to be around this little hill here. Oftentimes there's going to be quite a few enemies in these areas, and they're going to hold up our team because one of the biggest directions that our team is going to want to go is this way. So either we're going to go around the left side, we're going to go around the right side of the mountain, maybe down in the ditch. But again, oftentimes this area is going to be no man's land. So as a recon player, I'm looking to attack these areas right out the gate. I can do this from the left side of the hill or kind of the left side of the road where there's a rock and some cover there where I can barely peek, basically having a head glitch, and it gives me an open line of sight on these two areas. Now, if our team is not pushing and taking advantage of us getting kills or putting pressure on the enemy team, then they may hold up in these areas much longer than normal. If that's the case and we can't take them out, we can go to the right side of the hill here and peek, and it gives us a complete line of sight on anybody in this area. In terms of defending recon players, there's a couple of areas up here and an area this direction as well where they're more than likely going to be. Ultimately, what I'm trying to do after we clear these two sections though is move up and take this spot here. it ends up being one of the most valuable spots because where the enemy mostly is going to be is these areas here in this building here, sometimes in these spots here. And if I play this position correctly, then it puts me in a spot where I can see these people pretty clearly, but anybody that's up in this area has a difficult time having a direct line of sight on me. I do still have to worry oftentimes about anybody that's going to be in this area though. Once I've put pressure onto the objective and helped clear that for our team to move up, that allows me to move up a little further on this hill and start covering this section here. It's important to note that this is a high impact area where enemies spawn and navigate towards the objective. So for the third sector, things are obviously going to be a bit different because now we're going to have 3 objectives instead of 1. Oftentimes for the attacking team, high traffic areas are going to be this area here and this area here. Teams are going to be moving up these directions here, sometimes this way, but oftentimes this way as well. For the defending teams, these are high traffic areas at the start of this sector, this area including A, with a spawn area being this area here. Oftentimes what I find, and one of the first places I look, is this section here. Another high traffic area is going to be C, but in particular the roof. Now this is a less trafficked area by the defending team, but if they're more aggressive, you'll find them in this area, but especially like this area here. They will push the boundary so they can have a line of sight on anybody pushing towards A. So usually what I do is push this left hill here, being mindful of people that are oftentimes in this area, and that will allow me to sweep this direction to cover this area as well. Now, while we do this, we have to be mindful of the roof of C because this is oftentimes where opposing snipers are going to be. Once our team is able to move up and take A, there's a couple options that we have here. Sometimes I will push up here, and then where I go is kind of based off of my team. If there's snipers on this roof that are having this angle here, then I'll move over to this section to help cover my team and take those snipers out. Other times what I do is drop back to this hill because then I can have a line of sight on to B and help teammates trying to capture it while also putting pressure on any enemies coming out of their deployment. Granted, as a sniper, we're kind of beholden to what our team is trying to do, so what I focus on is playing off of them and trying to help them in whatever they're trying to accomplish. If the team is trying to push A, I try to put pressure onto A in the surrounding areas to create space and cover that team's push. Anyway, like I said, this was to be a more streamlined kind of breakdown and focus on high traffic areas for breakthrough on Blackwell Fields. The ultimate goal isn't to just know where players are going, but understanding why they keep ending up there. Once we know where teams generally rotate and where pressure builds, and where players usually expose themselves, then we can start taking angles that actually have purpose and take advantage of those opportunities. We're not just trying to sit back and hope for random picks, we're trying to position ourselves around the flow of the map and take advantage of that, getting a lot more kills and putting a lot more pressure on the opposing team. So like I said, with the follow-up video, I'll be breaking down some actual clips from Blackwell Fields and showcasing what some of this looks like in real matches. I'll catch you on the next one. RAMTEID out.